Welcome, everyone, to my weekly live stream. This week, we're going to be talking all about the LinkedIn profile and how you can use it to maximize your visibility. Now, if I'm new to you and you're new to me, let me introduce myself. My name is Beverly Smith, and as a former business owner of a staffing and recruiting company, I have a lot of experience in hiring and as well as working with hiring managers. And now I'm working with mid and senior level managers to help them with their resumes and their job search strategy so that they can land the job of their dreams. So, if you're watching this, please leave me a comment in the comments. And if you're catching the replay, be sure to use hashtag replay. And if you joined me earlier, yes, I had a few tech issues. I'm just okay. Last week, we talked about the LinkedIn um, profile and just kind of some behind the scenes to things that you need to do. And you can go back and watch the replay on that because it's all about stuff that you should really take care of before you start making lots of changes. It has to do with your visibility settings and just kind of how to find things and where everything's located on LinkedIn. We left off with talking about the headline, and that's a real key piece. And what I want you to know is um, to make sure that you're using keywords that are relevant to the position for which you're applying in that headline, and also use the title. And I think we talked about this pretty much last week. So if you have any questions on that, just let me know in the comments. But to find how, one thing I do want to share with you, and I think we talked about this too last week, but what happens is when you update your profile and your job description and your title, LinkedIn is going to automatically pick up your most recent position and your job title and put that in the headline. So if you come up with a killer headline that has the job title, that has let's say you're a corporate health and wellness director. So you put corporate health and wellness director, and then you put um, something to the effect of um, creating employee programs and health and wellness, and then something, oh, I wrote down something really good. Cultivating healthcare in workforces is maybe your personal branding statement. And you get that all created, and then you go and make changes, and the next thing you know, it's gone. So make sure you copy and paste that and keep that somewhere so that you can put it back in there. Okay, so we're going to move along. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to do separate videos to show you more specifically on any of this stuff. The next section that you need to address is the summary, or it's also referred to as the about section. And I believe it's actually on LinkedIn known as the about section. But if you hear it referred to as a summary, just know it's the same thing. You have 2,000 characters here. And I want to encourage you to maximize every one of those characters and really use this space to tell your career story in a very personable way. So think of it as being at a networking event, and you're there and you're having a conversation with someone. You're not going to talk in third person to that person, right? So you want to talk in first person and just tell your career story, tell how you got to where you are. But the whole time, I want you to keep in mind that you're actually trying to show a potential employer what is in it for them by hiring you. And so it's a good place that where you can introduce yourself. You can use a storytelling format that makes it more interesting to read, and use this spot here to put your keywords in. And again, just a reminder from last week, a great way, if you don't know what keywords you should be using, go and do like an online or Google search and put in your job title and the job description, and then put keywords. So corporate health and wellness director or corporate wellness director, and job description and keywords. And then it'll pop up with suggested keywords. And you just want to use that as you tell your story. And I want you to be descriptive, really let your personality show through, and be as specific as possible. So Cisco leader is good, but I'm a cybersecurity expert for companies with 500 plus employees is much more compelling. So think about it that way. Showcase your accomplishments, things that you have been successful with throughout your career, the attributes that really drive you to success, and make sure too that you can use the space to align yourself as a person of thought leadership. Where's the something I want you to write down? When you're writing this section, you want to answer the question, if your talent was missing from an employer's toolbox, what would it matter? And in case you didn't get that, I'll repeat that for you. Write this down. If your talent were missing from an employer's toolbox, why would it matter? So answer that question as to why they need you. Show a potential employer what is in it for them in this section. And you can also use the space to include your email address and your phone number if that makes sense. I know that there is up there under the headline your contact information, but having it show up again is always a good idea. Now, I get asked, what if I'm searching confidentially? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write this section more from the perspective of what you're doing now and not necessarily where you're looking to go. But if you don't want to send up any flags that, hey, I'm looking for a job. So just write it. Again, you can still put in, if your keyword section, if your position that you're applying for is really different, you can still look at those keywords and look at those transferable skills, and you can still show them this without sending up a lot of red flags. And I will tell you, if you get started on this and it really is challenging, go with what you've got. Know that it's a work in progress. You can always come back and update this and change it and tweak it. Another thing to keep in mind too is I don't want to see a big block paragraph or 2 or 3 big paragraphs. Break this up into a couple of sentences or one-liners. You want to be engaging. People like to skim things and look for the main points. You can put in emojis here. Now, just know you're probably going to have to copy and paste them in because LinkedIn doesn't have that capability, but you can use bullet points and you can really make it more readable. So when you're doing this and you really feel like you hit a wall and you want help, I want to let you know too, this is something that my team and I do, that we work on LinkedIn headlines in the summary about section. So if you feel like you need help with that area, you can always just send me a DM or leave me a comment. I'll be happy to discuss that with you in more detail. And we can even just take that off your plate if you would rather us do that. So, if you have questions, again, and you're watching the replay, make sure you use #replay, but leave them in the comments. Would love to know, and I will come back and answer each one. So let's move along to the professional work experience. And this needs to be written from a searchable perspective. So it's important that you consider the job title, the location, the industry in your actual profile. Recruiters are using these in their searches, and So it's important that you do include these and don't leave them off, because it's going to increase your searchability by 23 times. So keep that in mind. Another thing that I want to add here is, if your company uses a clever job title that's a little bit different, you know, make sure that you put the common title as well. So, oh goodness, my mind's just gone blank. Manager of First Impressions is what comes to mind. If that's you, put in the comment, put in parentheses next to Manager of First Impressions what your actual job title is. That is more common. So that the reason we want to do that is to make it more searchable. I guarantee you recruiters aren't searching on a unique job title. I know it's great from an employer's perspective. It increases employee engagement. It increases creativity. But from a recruiter's standpoint, we don't know what that is. We're not looking for that title. We're looking for a business development manager. So if you are the creator of new opportunities, make sure you have business development or sales in the parentheses next to it, so that we know what that is. Let's see. You also do not need to list every single position you've ever had since the beginning of your work career. Unless you are a new grad and you don't have a lot of work history, it is fine to put what you did in high school. But if you are 10 to 15 years in your career, I don't want to see every job that you've had. Let's just go back 10 to 15 years and don't worry too much about what's in the past, unless you've done something related in your past to the job for which you want to apply. Then it would be a good idea to show them. Another thing that is important when you're listing work history is you need to put more than your dates in there and your job title and where it was you work or the industry. You need to have something a little bit in the description. You have space to use it. This does not need to be a summary of your job description, though. This needs to be something you've achieved there. What challenges did you face and how did you accomplish what you accomplished? Make it interesting. And again, you can write this part in first person as well. It's not necessary. You can do this. I don't really like the idea of you copying and pasting what's in your resume. A lot of times recruiters want to see something that's complementary, that goes along with it, but isn't just a regurgitation of your resume. Your resume can definitely go into a lot more behind the scenes detail, but tell me something interesting and say in first person. Again, use this as you're having a conversation. It's kind of like well, LinkedIn is a networking platform. So network with the person who's reading it and tell them what you've done, what you've accomplished while you were at that job. Another tip for you is that if you have worked at the same job or the same company, but you've done different positions with that company, you have the option, and I would encourage you to use this, is to list that company and then list the single jobs that you've had underneath it along with their dates. What's cool about this is it shows your progression with that company, and it gives you the opportunity to really show yourself, like, I've done well here. I was moved up into another position. And I think it looks real good. I think it's easier to read versus when you just go and list it as a completely separate work history. You'll see this on resumes a lot too. And I think it's a very subtle selling point that says, hey, this company valued me enough to give me a new opportunity with them, to train me in a new area, to promote me. And so that's one of the reasons that I really like it. Again, as you're telling what you've done in those positions, don't forget your keywords. Make sure that you're using them here as well. Okay, so let's move along to the skills section. I feel like this is a very underutilized section in the LinkedIn profile. And if you're not seeing this section, here's where you can find it on your LinkedIn profile. If you're on your profile and you kind of scroll back up, you will see the option as you're scrolling up here, and I'm going to do my own. I've just clicked over to my own profile so I can see it, where it says you've got three little ovals, and one says more, add profile section, and open to. And if you click on the middle one, the add profile section, then this is where you can add the skill section or any other sections that you don't already have. So that's exactly where you'll find it. And add the skill section. This is really important. I talked to a recruiter just last week who says she uses this all the time to look for candidates, to source candidates. And if someone doesn't have this filled out, it's going to decrease the likelihood of them ever finding you. So know that you can put into up to 50 skills in this section. And I would encourage you to maximize it. Something too is, if you're doing, let's go back to our sales example. If you're doing that, make sure that you also include business development as well, because that recruiter may be searching on business development and not searching on sales. And so we want to maximize and make sure that no matter which one they're using, that they're finding you. So there's another trick that you can do. And if you've looked for jobs on LinkedIn, you pull up a job that you're interested in. If you LinkedIn will tell you how many of these skills are included on your profile and what's not. And you can actually click on them from there, and then you have the option to add them to your profile. Now, don't add them if you don't have them, but if you do, add them. And the other thing, and this is true if you do it both on your profile, and I meant to say this earlier, but if you do this both on your profile and if if you do it from looking at a job, you're going to get the option. And I love this feature in LinkedIn to show where you've used that skill. So you can go back and pick the job or jobs. You have a little box. You just check the ones you've used and where you've used that skill, and you can show that. And keep in mind, if you have knowledge or training, learning on that skill, go ahead and put it there as well. Go ahead and click that. You also can show it where you learn that in your education or in training as well. So those are really neat features. And again, it does improve your searchability on LinkedIn. So I hope that you found these tips helpful. So I hope that you found this helpful, and you can get to work now on improving and maximizing your visibility on LinkedIn by making these few changes to your LinkedIn profile, and just the little gradual things. I want to say too, again, if you are searching confidentially, make these changes gradual. Do them a few at a time, and then that way that doesn't alert a lot of changes. But do go back and watch that first video, because I'd show you how to make sure you turn off notifications so you're not blasting out to everyone that you're making changes to your LinkedIn profile. If you found this helpful, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If there's things that I didn't address that you're wondering about, please let me know. would love to do another video and see what I can do to help you. And I will be talking about more things that you can do on LinkedIn to improve your visibility, to improve your ability to be found by recruiters, and how to use the platform to network. We'll be talking about that over the next couple of weeks. So I look forward to seeing you next week on my video. And until then, have a great day.